Why do we fly? Officially, I embarked on my journey to attain my private pilot's license or certificate on August 29th of 2016. However, like many pilots, we can trace our desire back to when we were young, gazing into the heavens, longing to break the gravitational forces of the earth and soar amongst the clouds. So, why do we fly? Let me show you. Your first exposure to aircraft may be as simple as an air museum, or something more spectacular like a reenactment of the invasion at Pearl Harbor.
Sounds of battle. Hear the sirens just as they did that day. Feel the explosions hammer your chest just as they did. Smell the smoke as it burns your nostrils just as they did that fateful Sunday morning. And remember, for we must never forget. The practice ship Utah was the first to be hit. It lists and sinks. The light cruiser Raleigh takes 2 torpedoes. The battleship Oklahoma and West Virginia are next. The Oklahoma lists and capsizes, rolling on to the battleship USS Maryland. When the Oklahoma sinks, her belly thrusting out of the burning waters of Pearl Harbor, hundreds of men are trapped. The battleship California takes 2 torpedoes and sinks. At that same time, the USS Arizona, which has already taken a torpedo, has a bomb strike next to its number 2 turret. The 1,700-pound projectile penetrates deep into the belly, first through 1 deck, then through 2 decks. It lodges next to the magazine, and when it detonates, seconds later, the Arizona erupts like a volcano rising out of the harbor, flames shooting over 500 feet in the air. Almost 1,200 men perish in that moment, sent to a watery grave. Those brave young men still rest in the hold of that great ship at the Arizona Memorial. A testament to their courage, their sacrifice, and their honor. The second wave of the Japanese attack swarms over Hawaii at 08:55. 132 additional aircraft spread out to hit ships, airfields, and barracks throughout Oahu. But for the second wave, the element of surprise is gone, and the Americans fight back, making the Japanese pay, inflicting some damage of their own. A bomb hits the destroyer Downs while she sits in dry dock. Another strikes the commander of naval forces, Admiral Husband E. Kimmel's flagship, the battleship Pennsylvania, which is in dry dock, detonating guns and ammunition. Dive bombs attack the Raleigh, which has already been hit by torpedoes. One bomb misses the ship's aviation tanks by mere feet. The battleship Tennessee takes 2 bombs and sinks.
Why do we fly? It's funny that for those of us who have the dreams of learning to fly, whether we're a pilot now or we become a pilot later on, no matter where our travels take us, we tend to seek out an air museum or an air show just so we can just be near a plane. If you're like me, anytime I come close to one, you just gotta reach out and just touch it. It's just kind of a way to connect, and that connection drives us. For some of us, we become pilots early on in life, and some like me, it's in our twilight years before we finally achieve that goal. Why do we fly? Do you remember how nervous you were during your first flight lesson? Or how about that first time your instructor gave you the controls and told you to land the plane on your own, and you looked over and saw his hands firmly gripping the dash pad, knowing that he was not helping you at all on this one? It probably wasn't pretty, but it was the foundation, the baseline of which you could develop your skills and improve upon. Eventually, your instructor has enough confidence in your flying abilities to let you fly by yourself or solo. It's a date every pilot remembers. I think I, as well as other pilots, remember the day we soloed even better than our check ride when we finally received our private pilot's license or our certificate. It's kind of easy for me in some ways. It was our anniversary. Some would laugh at, well, what kind of anniversary present is that? Well, for us anyway, it was the culmination of many years of putting it off. We can do it later. I remember Janis saying, if you don't do it now, you never will. She was the one who encouraged me all along to finally learn to fly. We talked about it for years, but like other pilots, sometimes life just simply gets in the way. But this was the day that we realized that our dreams were about to come true, and the doors that this would open for us to share many new adventures together and experience both the journey and the destination were finally about to be realized. This was the day that we learned that a mile of highway or interstate can only take you 1 mile, but a mile of runway can take you anywhere. Why do we fly? So like a lot of pilots, after a few months or a year, you realize that your pilot's license or pilot certificate is really a ticket to learn, to improve your skills, to advance your knowledge. And then you come to the realization that the next step typically is getting your instrument rating, which opens up so many more doors of opportunities to fly where you otherwise would be on the ground. My check ride for my private pilot's license or certificate and my check ride for my instrument rating were almost a year apart to the day. There's no greater feeling when you're breaking out in heavy IMC and you can spot the runway right exactly where it should be. Why do we fly? Maybe it's the time you finally convince Janis's mom and dad to finally go up with you for their first flight. The line guys at Ruston Airport had a chuckle as they took her walker away. It took us almost an hour to be able to manipulate Janis's mom to get her into the plane, as she had a bad hip and a bad shoulder, and they're on opposite sides of the body. And then you cherish this memory because what you didn't realize at the time, that her first flight in a few short months was also going to be her last flight with us. Why do we fly?
Okay, Ron. Said 3 years ago, we were looking at flight schools and talking to instructors.
Yeah.
Learned to fly 3 years ago.
Yeah, just starting to talk to them about learning now. Yeah.
But this is kind of surreal.
It is. Governor's Harbor, Skylane, November 80, Papa Echo is 10 to the northeast inbound for 5, Governor's Harbor.
Thank you, November 80, Papa Echo. Safe landing. Come on in.
Why do we fly?
The water just turns every shade of blue imaginable out there.
Oh, blue, turquoise, seafoam green, you name the colors, that's what they are.
Of course, these pictures just...
Yeah, won't do it justice.
Oh, not at all.
All right, everybody, Norman's Key Airport is right there at our 2 o'clock. And we're going to try to get a shot of the DC-3 that crashed. It should be off Janis's side. You'll be able to look, it's in real shallow water, should be able to see it.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Daniel Key, Skyline November 80 Pop Echo on a 3-mile final, 16 full stops, Daniel. 20 degrees. We got a left crosswind today. Daniel Key, Skyline November 80 Pop Echo 2-mile final, 16 full stops, Daniel. Updraft there.
Push it back.
Yeah, we'll have to push it back. All right.
Hit reverse.
Yeah.
That was gorgeous. That was
That was
absolutely
pretty.
wonderful.
Why do we fly? I grew up in an era where the TV stations would go off air around midnight, all three of them, and they'd display a test card for the remainder of the night, but not before you either heard the Star-Spangled Banner, or in our case, because we live near a military base, the poem High Flight by John Gillespie McGee. So why do we fly? We have to. It's in our DNA. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up along delirious burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark nor ever eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touch the face of God.